Hello, hello. I am live. Good evening, everyone, or slowly people maybe joining. It is a nice summer evening, Sunday evening, 8:30. So I want to talk a little bit about Sweden. So I've been living here for 2 years now, and well, yeah, 2 years and 1 month. And yeah, I would say, I know a little bit about living in Sweden, particularly in Stockholm or just outside of Stockholm. And today I want to see if I can answer a few questions for people who maybe want to move to Sweden or people who live here and just want to know something about Sweden. I'm here to answer your questions. I posted earlier and ask if there are any questions so I can actually start with a question here before maybe some people post in the chat. So, someone asked if I can talk a little bit about cost of living here. So, they are moving end of this year. Congratulations, that's very exciting. And you only mentioned Sweden in general, which is big, and I think the cost of living really varies a lot throughout Sweden. So maybe I just talk a little bit about the cost of living in, Stockholm and Stockholm area. And someone also asked about the cost of living crisis. I think it kind of goes hand in hand a little bit. So I will comment on that at the same time. But yeah, cost of living, it's hard to say sometimes what's the right salary, how you can survive. But in general, I would say you have good paying jobs here in Sweden and you can survive on it. It all depends what kind of accommodation you're choosing, how expensive that really is. If you rent, if you buy, you know that electricity is higher these days, although now it's summer and also it has calmed down a little bit. It was crazy, just last winter when it all started. But yeah, you have to see what you can find. Do you want a room in a flat or a house? That will be much cheaper. Or do you want your own place? Do you have a family? Do you want a house or a bigger place with more bedrooms? That depends a lot, obviously, and then it gets a bit more expensive. All I can say at the moment, we really notice the increase in what we pay monthly because we have a mortgage, and we have separated our mortgage into three pieces. So some part doesn't change or not yet, and some has changed already, and we can obviously feel the increase in interest rate. Hey, hello, welcome. So it's real. The cost of living crisis is real, and we can feel it when we go grocery shopping. There's also a significant increase. But then again, I feel sometimes when we go shopping and we don't really have a plan, you buy just more stuff and it gets more expensive, or you don't buy things on offer or certain brands or stuff like that. So I think again, you can probably really plan ahead and find your way around it. But at the same time, you know, just this normal living and just buying stuff, like it's harder basically. It depends obviously how much you earn. But if you have to look after your, money, then definitely things have increased also in Sweden. But I know it's not only a Swedish thing. Many other European countries or around the world, costs in general have increased. So it's bad, but what can you do? You just have to survive, and you just try to work around it and try to live with it and try to manage it. So that's what I basically want to say to that. And then one question earlier was also if Malmö, the city Malmö, is safe. All I can say, I think Sweden in general is pretty safe. Obviously, city life is always a bit different than countryside life, but the cities here in Sweden, Stockholm, the bigger ones, Malmö, Gothenburg, Helsingborg, I think it's called. I think they're pretty safe. Things are happening, of course, and crime, we all know it is also present here in Sweden in the bigger cities, especially. But in general, I think Malmö is pretty safe as well as Stockholm, especially compared to other countries and other cities in the world. So let's go to some of the questions. So welcome everyone. The life is better than UK and Germany. Um, it's all very subjective, I would say. But thank you for your question. I personally would say yes, but then maybe I'm biased because I chose to move to Sweden. Um, but it is better in many things. I mean, I have a family, so my whole, you know, goal, or when I look at what is the best life, it's not only me as an individual, it's also my family. So I'm thinking about where could my children grow up. And UK and Germany are not bad countries. They're good countries to live in as well. I mean, I used to live in them as well, and I could even imagine moving to Germany one day, but not very soon. I want to stay in Sweden. But it's good. You can have a good life in both countries. But yeah, I feel Sweden is better. I feel the educational system is better in terms of not the academic part of it, but I like that from what I heard, and I will know as soon as my children are in school. So this is more in theory what I've read about Sweden at this point. But it is, there's more focus on the individual, a little bit more about the creativity, entrepreneurship. I remember actually, I have encountered a few times that young adults, like teenagers, were selling things to me. So they knocked on the door trying to sell things. We went to, like, what was it, a Christmas in the neighborhood, like a little cafe, and there was a guy who made his own candles, probably with some of his other friends at school, and they were made out of sustainable materials, and he was selling that. So you really have the opportunity to explore a little bit and try entrepreneurship, and I think that's actually quite big here in Sweden. Anyway, I don't want to go too much into details about it, but that is just one example why I think Sweden could be so much better, than the UK and Germany, for example, at school. What else do we have here? When someone loses their job, does membership in any Fachverbund and A-Kasse guarantee 80% salary once lose our job? I mean, that's very specific. When you join a union, for example, I'm not part of it. Or let's say you get this information probably better when you reach out to a union or A-Kassa, which I know it's like when you lose your job, you get money. 80% salary when you lose your job. I don't know if that's basically what you get after you lose your job. It could be for a certain period of time. It depends maybe how long you worked. So if you really want that information, I have to say you need to reach out to them and ask directly. But I normally find that they're very good in like giving you information. So reach out to the specific like companies or like like unions, A-Kassa, to know exactly what you can expect when you lose your job. So that's something I don't know, I'm afraid. How do you see your leave from UK after Brexit? Well, it was one of the reasons we left, it was really disappointing a lot when that actually happened. It felt like, you want to live in a country who is not just for themselves. I mean, I just like the idea of European Union. There is a lot which is not perfect, 100%, but I just like the idea of togetherness. I like that countries work together to, improve the world a little bit, to have, to make it safer sometimes, not to have individuals who, or individual countries who use, who or which do their own thing, and then just, don't care about any other countries. It's a bit, I imagine it a little bit like, yes, I'm an individual, I'm a country. Do I want to just want all the advantages for myself because I think then I will have a better life? Or do I want to work with other people, countries, to make everyone a little bit happier and, make sure that everyone lives a good life? That's how I see it a little bit. So, and yeah, UK left European Union and not happy, and that was one of the reasons why we wanted to look where else can we move in the world, and here we are today in Sweden. So yeah, and you can see in the UK what's happening as well. I mean, there's obviously, because of corona, because of the Ukrainian war, there's a lot of reasons why things are not going very well, but Brexit is definitely also a reason why things are going a bit downhill in the UK, in my opinion. I always buy stuff on offer. It's the only way to shop. Yes. What about the no-go zone from Malmo? No, I mean, I read about the no-go zones as well. There are no-go zones, which is apparently a very Swedish thing, to have a list of the areas which are no-go zones. So I have not, like, I cannot talk from personal experience. It's not that I have spent time in no-go zones. I have just listened to others, what they think about them. Some people, actually, some viewers mention sometimes they live in these no-go zones and say that they actually feel quite safe, but they maybe wouldn't go outside in the dark, like in the night, in the evening. So you can take what you want from that. I'm sure there's always areas in cities which are not that great. I mean, in London, there were many areas where you probably shouldn't be at night or maybe even during the day. So look at the no-go zones, have a look. Maybe if you have the chance, visit them, have a look for yourself, see if it's a real thing, and decide for yourself if that's somewhere you could move or maybe you want to avoid it. What else do we have? It is easy to file taxes and register a company if you have an online business compared to anywhere else in Europe. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about filing. Well, it is. I have a business. I started a business. I do have an accountant though, because everything is in Swedish. So on one hand, I would say it's not that easy if you don't know the language. If you do know the language, it's probably very easy. But I know in Sweden, it's very easy to start a business. So there's not many things you really need apart from a personnummer and some starting capital, or how do you call it in English, which is, I think, 25,000 SEK. It's about 2,000 pounds or $2,000, something around that. And it doesn't matter if it's an online business. It's probably good. I mean, I kind of have an online business, and it's quite easy. I don't know how to compare it in other European countries. I mean, it was very easy in the UK, to be honest, to start a business. I had a business. I was quite young, and I don't know what kind of business it was when I was in Germany. All I know, it was also very easy to start that business. So I don't think it's very complicated these days. But then again, you might need to, know the language, or have maybe an accountant or someone who, at least translates it for you to really know what you're doing. So that was not an easy part for me, and I trusted the process with an accountant. Um, Sweden has always had good ambassadors, and we like to work with other countries. You got to look for another job at Arbeit. Oh, someone gives some information. That's very great. Thank you very much. But yes, you get money at 80%, but you have to actively look for a job. Okay, so that's good. Thanks for sharing this. Are there any other questions? I can tell you a little bit where I am at the moment. So in our life, I'm kind of back at work, although it looks more like being self-employed, doing my own thing, also starting online businesses or online business, whilst my partner is on parental leave at the moment, but he finishes in like 1 month, I think, and then he will be back at work. And both of our children will be at preschool, Vorschule. So that's very exciting. And then we will be back both in like the working environment, and our children will be kind of full time in preschool. That's where we are at the moment a little bit. And well, the good thing is at the moment it is summer, and you can feel that everyone is really out and about. Actually, it's not that busy. You can feel that people are going on holiday at the moment. So it is quite quieter, which is quite nice. Although we went to camping this week, so just the last few days, which I will share with you. So I'm very excited to share with you how it was. The funny thing was that it was our first time, and we were blessed with rain. So that was a little bit funny, I would say. I was a bit concerned how it would be to camp first time. And then it was raining a lot, but we were also quite lucky. But I will talk about this and show you a little bit around in my next video as well. So I think I missed it, but what is your business venture? Yeah, so I'm actually working on a few things. My kind of overall registered business is being a data analyst. So I mentioned that when I talked about me registering my business. And normally I would work for companies. I actually started it also because I had a company in the UK I worked for in London, and I continued working for them when I arrived here in Sweden. So I then could basically legally invoice them and pay taxes here in Sweden. So that's basically one part I'm doing. But I mentioned also that I'm trying to build an online business, and that is really selling digital products online. So I'm trying to build a business where I can be a bit independent from like companies, employers, basically trying to do my own thing. And I just started, 2 months ago, like really kind of full time, since my partner went on parental leave. So now I have the time. I don't have to look after the children during the day, so I can really put all my time into building that new business. And I'm happy to talk a little bit more about it and make maybe a video as well. but I feel like I'm still at the very beginning that I don't want to reveal too much because I want to see how I can really give you some advice as well, and like what's possible here in Sweden and how it is basically to build an online business. But I will talk about it a little bit more for sure. Mm, let's say you have a freelance company. Your life balance consists of three circles: yourself, family, and work. The circles shall be equal in size when your life is in balance. Which circles is the biggest in your life? Oh, these questions. Quite cool. Life balance. Okay, I have myself, family, and work. Yeah, which circles is the biggest in your life? I have to say, it is. I love that question, by the way. Thank you so much for asking me that question. I have to say, family and work, I feel, is quite a big, like, it's and the work only started really 2 months ago when I really finished my parental leave and my partner went on parental leave. And then when we both work, or when the kids are both in preschool, I think there will be, another wave of, like, or maybe it started and now it's going on. So I can say now work is really part of my life now, but it hasn't been 2 months ago. I feel I was trying to work on the side in the evenings, nap times and stuff like that. Also trying to work on the YouTube channel, come up with a few topics to talk about, and I have to edit my videos. So YouTube is still part of what I'm doing as well. But now I'm working and it's a big part of my life again. Obviously, there's the other side of how much you can earn. So that part will hopefully be coming soon as well. And then family, I feel it's always there. I spend a lot of time with the girls. Every weekend we do things together. Like the weekends are really like pure family time. And then we have also, yeah, the evenings. Sometimes, yeah, I come home 5 or 6 and we have a few hours together. So family is quite big. And I feel very happy about spending so much time actually with the family. I enjoy it. And I think it helps at the moment that my partner is on parental leave, because normally he might actually watch, but normally he's quite busy with work. And although we also try to have a work-life balance with him, like I feel now he's on parental leave, it's really, really good. It's really nice. Like we can spend quite a few time together without him thinking too much about work. So, and then there's my yourself part. And I feel like the yourself part is part of work. I feel like myself is at the moment my new work, my trying to build a business. So it kind of intertwines a little bit. Um, but otherwise, I would say that I also try to catch up with friends. So friends is maybe part of myself and what I enjoy doing. So I try to also catch up with friends once a week, for example, with friends, and yeah, I'm happy about that as well. Great question, thank you. So let's see, where are we? Do you have or go to a yoga or meditation group? Any tips on how to solve the problem of overthinking? Ooh, deep question on my channel. Um, I'm sure there's a lot of yoga classes here actually, and I think I'm going to a gym here, and they do offer yoga classes as well. I do not go to yoga classes. I have tried it, and maybe one day I will be a yogi, but at the moment I'm not. I don't know why. I don't find the connection so much. Meditation on top of my list, but with kids around, I feel like when can I actually do it? I'm listening to some meditation in the evening before I go to bed, but I feel like that just makes me fall asleep. It works brilliantly, but I'm not really meditating, if that makes sense, because I'm just falling asleep. But overthinking, I would say Yeah, I mean, do start meditating. I do want to start as well because I feel it will calm your head, your brain down a little bit to just be in the moment and not think about, your worries or the future, the cost of living crisis, for example. I try not to think about it too much because you cannot change it, but obviously you can work on like things which for your family or for yourself to feel better, like trying to save or trying to look for offers, like someone said earlier as well. um, so the overthinking part, I think meditating would probably help you a lot, and I'm sure there are YouTube is a great place to look for it, or apps. I think my app, if you want to know which meditation app I'm using, let's have a look. It's called Insight Timer. Insight Timer, if you wanted to look that up. Lulululum. Any time for learning more Swedish? Yeah, I knew that question would come. So I have news. I know I think I struggled a little bit with learning Swedish by myself. I was very motivated at the beginning, and I did spend like half an hour every day because I have a book, and I did a course a little bit. So that gave me a little push and some basics, which was really great. But then I was like, I need to work on my business. So I kind of neglected those 30 minutes each day where I didn't work on Swedish. So it plummeted basically. So I didn't do anything. But I signed up for the SFE course. So maybe a lot of you know what it is, but it is like a Swedish course for immigrants. And I signed up for it. I had a little talk as well, so I had to prove a little bit which level I am. I talked to someone on the phone, and she also asked me some questions, which I in Swedish, and I had to answer in Swedish. So I'm not at a very, very beginner level anymore. So I'm a little bit higher up, which is great, So those 2 years, I'm living here. There was some improvement. I did visit some courses, so I'm not at a very beginner level. And when people ask me something, I normally understand actually better than I thought. So, and I'm starting already in 1 month, and it's a very intensive course where I think it was 3 hours a day, so 15 hours a week, which is a lot. It scares me a little bit, but it's happening. And SFE you have to take quite seriously, otherwise you will be kicked out again, and then you have to reapply. So now I think there's no turning back. I have to show up and learn it. And obviously the person I talked to was also, oh, so you are a German and you can, English. So I should have the best. How do you say, the best requirements? But you told me that already. I should learn. I probably should have spoken Swedish already fluently after 2 years, but it's happening in 1 month. And let me be 1 month in, because it's like 3 hours a day. I should probably be able to say something. I was wondering if I should do a few shorts where I just speak Swedish. So maybe the big videos are in English and I just talk about, life in Sweden. And then in the shorts, I will present you my Swedish skills. Let me know if you like that and if I should do it. So how does vacation and days off work as a business owner? So it is actually up to you as a business owner. You can do whatever you want, really. It depends, like if you have clients, and you have to communicate with them that you're not available for work. So that's really up to you. But otherwise, if you're a business owner, you can really make your own vacation days, because you have to pay yourself and you can pay yourself vacation days. So I don't think there are any restrictions really. So I'm just going to skip some ads. So it's up to you. Do you plan on going north on trips? Norland starts after Gävle, so it's not that far. You know, I really, really want to. I also follow some other people and they travel to the north, and I'm like, man, I still have to discover, so much more Sweden than just around Stockholm. I think the furthest I was, yeah, on our ski trip, was 5 hours away, a bit more north. Obviously, I forgot the name now, but you can watch the video. I think it was called Sturton, if I'm not mistaken. We definitely want to travel, but at the moment, because we have the camping we just had, and we have another camping trip planned. So these are basically our holidays, but I also want to take the time to work on my business. So that's a little bit of a, downer, and also because my partner's on parental leave. I'm not earning as much as, someone maybe should earn at the moment. We have to postpone a little bit all our trips, so we can't do every week something. So I need the time to really work on my business. But 100% is going to happen eventually. Maybe not this year to go up north, but I wrote down all the recommendations anyone gave me in the videos. So I probably have a list of all the amazing places I should visit in the north. So it's going to happen. So just follow this channel, and eventually I will take you on a trip to the north. Have you checked out any other places than Stockholm area? Sweden is huge. Yeah, that just kind of is what I said. So we went to Örebro. That's where the camping place was. Just, yeah, this week. But I have to say, we were just at the camping place. The weather was not the greatest, so I didn't really explore Örebro. Sorry, so I don't know if that counts. But we mainly stick around here at the moment, just because, yeah, we can't have too many trips because of the business, because of parental leave, and the reduced amount of money we get, and the cost of living crisis. So we also have to be very careful with our money. It's just the truth. Like, we can't just spend all our money. But, I will always let you know when we go to any other places. I will always document it here, and also on Instagram. I will always take you to the places I visit or we visit as a family. And we really try to do as much as we can at the moment. I'm curious, how quickly did your partner master Swedish? He doesn't speak Swedish. Yeah. And maybe he watches this. He has not planned, like, he doesn't have a plan right now to learn Swedish, but I know he wants to learn Swedish. It's just a matter of, like, when this is going to happen and how. Because also, when he goes back to work, it's really hard to find the time. I understand that. So we have to see, like, what he wants to do. I'm sure he wants to learn Swedish and starts eventually, but at the moment, he doesn't speak any Swedish, and he probably understands less Swedish than I do. Do you recommend everyone to get a VPN? I mean, I don't have a recommendation, to be honest. Okay, a little bit of Swedish there. I don't want to embarrass myself and read this now. But that's cool. Do you speak Swedish with your children or vice versa? I've heard that's good practice for parents as well. What I find actually fascinating is, when I'm meeting up with my Swedish friends, is that they talk to my daughter in Swedish all the time. It's also maybe because their children speak Swedish. Maybe they also want to know a little bit what her Swedish is like. But they talk, yeah, in Swedish to her, although she does understand English and they can speak English as well. So sometimes I listen to the conversation and I do understand quite a bit, and sometimes I would then answer, but most of the time in English. But I feel when I was in the course, actually, I did try to talk to my daughter in Swedish a little bit just to practice and try to talk to her friends. And that's actually something really important to me as well. We had a few occasions now where her friends would come over and they would come over without the parents, and the kids can only speak Swedish. So it was or it is a very interesting situation for me, quite nervous situation where I sometimes feel like I want to talk to the kids and just, tell them things. I mean, I can talk a very, very little Swedish to them, if they are okay, if they want food, that kind of stuff. But yeah, having them over here and knowing they can only speak Swedish, and obviously my daughter's sometimes there, so I can help. But I shouldn't rely on my daughter. She's not responsible, to kind of translate. So that is a big, big motivation for me actually to learn Swedish. Um, and I think when I start my course, I will definitely try to speak more with her friends at kindergarten. My other daughter starts at kindergarten as well, and that will be very interesting as well because at the moment she can't speak. She understands a little bit. I talk German to her all the time, and she understands a bit English as well because my partner talks in English. But now she will also start learning Swedish. So that will be very interesting. And I remember from my older daughter when she was almost 3 years old, and when she started to learn Swedish in kindergarten, she came home talking to me in Swedish. So I have the feeling with my 1 year old, she will definitely say things in Swedish, which then I have to pick up as well and, at least understand, even if I reply in German, for example. But I really want to understand her when she starts speaking, whatever language that will be. So I need to also focus on Swedish. For young parents like myself, would you give us any tips on books to read about parenting? Um, yeah, I read a few books. Um, I'm thinking now which books I was reading. I was reading some about also bilingual language. I have to look them up. So maybe I do a post on my channel to let you know which books I was reading. But one books I really like actually is also children's books. Two, I currently read to my older daughter, and she really loves it, and I can see how much it actually helps. One is called All About Friends, and the other one is called All About Feelings, both from the same authors. And it's really helping to kind of uh, for her to understand the world a little bit, to understand what friends are, how to make friends, the dynamics between friends. And now we have the feelings books, which is also really great because at that age, she is 4 now. They're all over the place, and feelings are a big thing. But also for yourself, I mean, how many people actually learn how to navigate their feelings? We have feelings all the time, but do we really learn about feelings? But now I'm going a little bit off topic, but I will give you a little list soon in the community tab. I will post about the parenting books I have read and I really recommend, and I will do that. So I will not forget that. How do you say about your life? Okay, I don't understand that question. How do your children say about your life? Do you mean how they find life here? If that's actually the question, I can see they're very happy, very very happy. Just today, it was a very nice sunny Sunday, and we just cycled to a nearby beach, 10 minutes from here. We have several beaches by bike very close to us, and we just spent the afternoon at the beach, and I can see they were very happy. And because we're reading this feelings books every night as well, I always ask my daughter, I mean the older one, how she's feeling. And she always points to an exciting or happy person. So she loves her kindergarten. And I hope that the little one also, she is definitely very social. I can tell she's always going up to children and want to play with them. So I feel so far very happy about living here in Sweden. Obviously, it might be in any other country, they would be maybe the same. I don't know. But having already the possibility, I was actually talking to my partner today, or he was making that comment that in London, we wouldn't have that. We were living quite central. We lived in a nice area as well with a big park. So that was actually quite nice. And there was a little reservoir as well. But you could go swimming in there actually, but it wasn't for children. You could not, children could not swim in there. Um, so I feel we are very blessed to have that here. So I think they're happy. Happy with the new house? Yes. So far, we are actually really happy. So it's kind of our 1 year anniversary. Yeah, we moved in July. So we are in a new house. It still feels like a new house for 1 year now. And yeah, we like the size, and we're still trying to improve. Shout out to my partner who just water pressured our terrace and is going to paint the outside fence. We're still doing little improvements in the house. We like our neighborhood. We go to the playground around the corner as well, where then friends of my children, like especially the older one, are hanging out. So I think she likes this environment as well. We have made some connections with some of the neighbors. We talk a little bit here and there. So it's actually quite nice, especially our direct neighbor, especially my partner has conversations and with them. So yeah, we really, really like it here. So we hope that will stay that way. So kids take two languages like water. Absolutely. I mean, there are little sponges. My daughter actually recently, just yesterday, all of a sudden, I think maybe she has it from kindergarten, but she pretends to talk in Spanish. And then she asked me also, like, can we pretend to talk in Spanish? And she tries to say things, and then I actually put something, a TV show she's watching, Bluey, in Spanish. And she really liked that. And she watched, they're like 7-minute kind of episodes. She watched a few episodes in Spanish, and she was really happy about that, although she might have not understood much. So it's interesting to see, like, their curiosity is so big. And I guess because she also speaks a few languages, she really tends to be quite curious about them. So it's a triple language, yeah. Yeah. We my one kid so far speaks German, English, and Swedish. And hopefully I will speak German, English, and Swedish soon. So I think we're already 45 minutes into this video, and I hope I could answer, well, maybe not all your questions, but most of your questions. And I feel very blessed that you actually joined in today and I could talk a little bit about life in Sweden. I loved all your questions. So thank you very much. And my next video will be about our camping trip. So make sure to tune in next week again. Thank you so much and have a wonderful, wonderful evening and also a good start into the next week. I say bye. Thank you.